In this video, you will learn how to use the Google Sheets API. I will guide you through accessing a Google Sheets document, listing available sheets, and reading and updating cell values. To begin using the Google Sheets API, we first need to create a service account and download the credentials. Go to the Google Cloud Console. First, we need to create a new project. I will name it Google Sheets API Tutorial. Once your project is ready, click Select Project. Then navigate to APIs and Services. In the search bar, search for Google Sheets API and click Enable. Next, we need to create credentials to access our API. So click on Create Credentials. Select an API, it's Google Sheets API. What data will you be accessing? Select Application Data. Next, Service Account Details. You need to choose a service account name. I will call it Python API. Then click Create and Continue. Next, select a role. We need to give our service account the editor role. And continue. Click Done. Now go to Credentials tab. And here you should find the service account email. Click on the email and go to the Keys tab. Click on Add Key, create new key, choose JSON for the key type and click Create. This will download the JSON file containing your service account credentials. Now let's go and create a new Python project. I will use VS Code, but you can choose any code editor you like. Within this folder, I will create a main.py file. Then let's go and copy our credentials file that we just downloaded in this folder. For convenience, I will rename it credentials.json. And by the way, your credentials file is sensitive information, so make sure it's stored safely. Now that we have our service account, the next step is granting the service account access to our Google Sheets document. For the sake of this tutorial, I created this Google Sheets document with 2 sheets and these example values. Now, in order to grant our service account access to this document, we need to go back to Google Cloud Console. Go to Service Account Details, and here you should find the email address of your service account. Now, let's copy this address, then go to our Google Sheets document and Share Access. Click Share, paste the email address, and make sure you give it the editor role. And that's it. Now we are ready to start using the Google Sheets API in our Python code. So let's go back to our Python project and we will begin by setting up a virtual environment. If you are using Windows, you can create a virtual environment with the following command. Run python-m vnv followed by the name of your virtual environment. I will call it sheets-nv. Next, you activate your virtual environment with the command sheets-nv/scripts/activate. You know your virtual environment is activated when you see the name appear here. Now, if you are on Mac, you can use the following commands instead. Alright, our virtual environment is activated. The next step is to install the necessary dependencies for our project. To work with Google Sheets API in Python, we need to install these 3 modules. You can use the command pip install followed by the names of your modules. Next, we need to import GSP read and credentials. So import sheet.read and from google.oauth2.service account import credentials. After importing the necessary modules, next we need to set up Google Sheets API credentials. First, we define the scopes. Scopes specify the level of access that the application needs. Here we are using the scope which grants read and write access to Google Sheets. Next, we get the credentials from the JSON file that we downloaded earlier. This JSON file contains the necessary authentication information, and we specify the scopes. Next, we need to create a client instance to access the Google Sheets document. So we do client equal gspread.authorize our credentials. Alright, now that we have our client, we can start doing operations on our Google Sheets documents. The first thing we need to do is to access our document. For example, we can use the document URL or the document ID. It's better to use the ID because it doesn't change even if you change the document name, for example. To find your document ID, go to your Google Sheets document and in the URL take this string between d/ and /edit. To get the document, we can do client.getByKey. Now we can get the sheets in our document using document.worksheets. And if we try to print sheets, we get this list of worksheet objects with the sheet names and IDs. If we want to get just the sheet names, we can do for sheet in sheets print sheet.title. And here we get our sheet names, sheet 1 and sheet 2. Now let's focus on sheet 1 and try to get the cell values. First we get our sheets, then we can use the method getAllValues. Now let's see what we get if we print the values. And here we get our values: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, January, February, March. We can verify that they are the same values that we have in our document. Now we can also try to update a cell. For this we can use the method updateCell. It takes the row and column numbers and the new value. Let's try to run this and go check our document. As we can see, we have our new value. Now we can also update a cell using its name instead of using the row and column numbers. For this, instead of update cell, we use the method update a cell and we specify the cell name. Let's try to update A1. Now let's run this, and if we go check our document, we can see the second new value. In addition to updating cells, we can also read cell values. To do that, we can do sheets.aCell to get the cell by its name. Then we can get the value using .value. And here if we print, we can see our cell value. We can also get the cell by its row and column numbers. Alright, now these are just a few example operations that you can do with Google Sheets API. In the description, I will put the link to the documentation where you can find all the methods and operations you can do.